December football is here. It's the regional finals of the Texas High School football playoffs, and these are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas High School football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and look over there, off in the distance. It's not close, but it's definitely visible. It's over there. It's AT&T Stadium. AT&T Stadium in Arlington, host of the 2022 Texas High School Football State Championship games. You can see it from here, really and truly, because we are now into December, and for the 11-man teams that are left in Texas High School football, they're 2 wins away from playing there. For the 6-man teams, they can punch their ticket to AT&T Stadium this week. It's December. Things are getting serious, and the pressure is turning up. Legacies will be made this week. Who will handle the challenge best? There's 44 games scattered across the state. We'll preview every single one of them. We start in Denton. 7 o'clock Friday night at C.H. Collins Stadium in Denton. It's the 4A Division I Region I final as the Wichita Falls Coyotes take on the Decatur Eagles. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, Nate the Great. Let's talk about Nate Palmer, the running back for Decatur, who has really emerged as one of the certified playmakers in all of Class 4A. He has been excellent ever since their 0-3 start. So remember, this is a Decatur team that lost their first 3 games. In those 3 losses, Nate Palmer averaged about 5.5 yards a carry, okay? Since then, they've rattled off 10 straight wins, and he's averaging 2 more yards per carry than he was in their 3 losses. That is how important he is to this Decatur team. They've got a great quarterback as well in Preston Escobar, but make no mistake, this Decatur team goes as Nate Palmer goes. What does Wichita Falls do to counteract him? And can Nate Palmer on the big stage have a big game? Key number 2, the Coyotes takeaways. So if you look at this Wichita Falls defense, the numbers are not going to blow you away, right? They're about middle of the pack in scoring defense in 4A Division I, giving up about 24 points per game, which is not great, but not terrible at all. That's certainly serviceable. You can win with that kind of defense. But what they are good at is taking the ball away. They force a ton of turnovers, 38 to be exact on the season. Nearly 3 turnovers per game with guys like Ivy Kelly and Aiden Ramirez doing a lot of the heavy lifting. This is a bend, don't break defense, and then they come up with that big splash play. For Decatur, it's going to be on them to take care of the football, and for Wichita Falls, they've got to come up with a couple of big splash plays and take the ball away. Can they do that in this regional final? In key number 3, we meet again. This is one of 12 rematches in the regional finals of the Texas High School football playoffs. These 2 teams are district rivals. They met in week 8, and Decatur came away with a 31-27 overtime win in a thriller. This game had 3 lead changes in the final 6 minutes, some controversial calls depending on who you ask, but in the end, it was a Decatur victory, and they moved on and won their district championship. Now, Wichita Falls, we know, has wanted another shot at Decatur, and they're getting it this week. And it's hard to beat a good team twice. But at the same time, if you go back to last week, there were a fair number of rematches in the Texas High School football playoffs, and a lot of the teams won again. So it can be done. You can beat a good team twice. But the question is, have they changed since that meeting? What is better? What is worse? Who's healthier? Who is maybe a little bit fresher? Those are the things that are going to play a factor in this game. Because, look, it was an overtime game the last time they met. Now they're meeting with everything on the line. So, in round 2, who comes out on top? Who am I picking? I'm going to Wichita Falls. The Coyotes get the nod here because I think it's hard to beat a good team twice, and I think they've been anxious to get another crack at Decatur. We haven't even mentioned some of their big-time playmakers they have on the offensive side, guys like quarterback John Ledesma and their running back Cameron Gould. I think this offense has hit another level of late. You saw that last week against Brownwood, and their defense is just that kind of smash-mouth playmaking defense that comes up with the big play at the big moment. A lot of this comes down to what the Wichita Falls defense does against Nate Palmer. Can they bottle up the running game for Decatur and make this Decatur offense more one-dimensional? I think, like the first time they met, this game is very close. But I think it has the opposite outcome. I think Wichita Falls moves on to the state semifinals. Let's go to 6A, 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon at McKinney ISD Stadium. It's a 6A Division I regional final between the Prosper Eagles and the Louisville Fightin' Farmers. And 6A Division I Region I final. Not Allen, not South Lake Carroll, not Duncanville, not Euless Trinity, Prosper and Louisville. That's right. These two teams have ridden a hot hand all the way to the fourth round of the playoffs. Louisville is in their first regional final since 1996 when their head coach Michael Odell was their starting quarterback. And I have to imagine that quarterback Ethan Terrell is doing his coach proud, has really been fantastic during this playoff run. The real difference for Louisville this year is I think their defense has stepped up in a big way. You saw it shine last week in their regional semifinal romp over Keller. This Prosper team, I think, has been flying under the radar, but been very strong all year long. Harrison Rosar, their quarterback, is in complete command of this offense, and you know that Coach Brandon Schmidt is going to have an outstanding defense in this game. So that's what's interesting about this matchup. I think it could go a variety of different ways. I could see either team winning. I could see either team actually running away and blowing the other team out. A lot of this, I think, is going to come down to little things like special teams, like turnovers, things like that. That's where I think Prosper has a very slight edge. I think the Eagles move on to the state semifinals. 7 o'clock Friday night at Ferris Stadium in San Antonio. It's a 5A Division II regional final between the Liberty Hill Panthers and the Corpus Christi Flower Bluff Hornets. Liberty Hill got a big scare last week against Alamo Heights, fell behind but was able to rally by finally getting that slot T offense rolling. Quarterback Joe Pitchford and running back Noah Long finally got the wheels on the offense, and they were pretty much unstoppable. The defense came up with the right stops at the right moments. They're going to need to be even better this week against a Flower Bluff offense that is rolling. My goodness, what they did last week. The San Antonio Veterans Memorial hanging 66 on them. Quarterback Jaden Pelucio was outstanding, throwing for 7 touchdowns. This offense is very dangerous. But can Flower Bluff make stops? It's hard enough to play a high-powered offense. It's really hard to play a high-powered slot T offense like Liberty Hill has. I give the edge to the Panthers. Let's go to 3A, 7 o'clock Friday night at Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches. It's a 3A Division II regional final between the Newton Eagles and the Harmony Eagles. Harmony, what a win last week over West Rusk. This is 5-loss Harmony. Came into the playoffs at 5-5 and have hit the Jets when it mattered most. Quarterback Boston Seahorn has been very strong, and the defense comes up with plays when they need it. The question in this one is, are they going to be able to find a way through this outstanding defense for Newton, which has given up just 20 points in their 3 playoff games? The defense has been excellent, including last week in their narrow win over Dangerfield. Can they also find a way to slow down Malik Woods, the outstanding signal caller, dual threat guy for Newton? I think Harmony has proven a lot of people wrong, but I got to go with Newton in this one. Give me the Eagles. The Eagles of Newton, that is. 7 o'clock Friday night at Tiger Stadium in College Station. It's a 2A Division II regional final between the Mart Panthers and the Lovelady Lions. This is the matchup of unbeatens, and if it feels like we haven't talked a ton about these two teams, it's because we haven't, because they've just kind of been destroying people. These are two of the most dominant teams in all of Texas high school football statistically. In fact, Mart is the most dominant team in all of Texas high school football, beating their opponents by an average of 52 points per game. That is unmatched, what they've been able to do with their quarterback, Jonah Ross, their running back, J.D. Bell. They are rolling. Their defense has been excellent all year. Lovelady has the 4th best margin of victory in all of Texas high school football this year. They have been beating their opponents by an average of 44 points per game. Running back Davian Skinner leads this outstanding run-based attack, and their defense, no surprise, has been excellent. They did get pushed last week against Carlisle, had to come back from a halftime deficit. That's really the first competitive game they've played. Is that an advantage that they've now been in a dogfight? I think Mart's speed is going to be the difference in this one. They've just got playmakers all over the field. I give the edge to the Panthers. And we will punch our first 4 tickets to AT&T Stadium this week in the 6-man rank. 7 o'clock Friday night in Dublin. It's a 1A Division II state semifinal between the Lorraine Bulldogs and the Oakwood Panthers. And you can make a real argument that both of these teams are a bit of a surprise to be here. You know, Lorraine started the year 13th in our rankings in Dave Campbell's Texas football, but have done nothing but win since then. They have been outstanding, especially on the defensive side. Davian Walthall is the name to know for them on both sides of the ball. Last week, their defensive effort against Cherokee is one of the best performances we've seen from a 6-man team all year long. It was very, very impressive. For Oakwood, they have the best player in the state of Texas that you've never heard of. Zach Nickerson, their running back, is a literal record-smashing runner. He has 77 touchdowns on the year. That is the all-time Texas high school football 6-man record. Shout out to Lehman Saunders for that note. He has been unstoppable in this in this season. So the question is going to be what happens when that Lorraine defense, which has been so good all year, goes up against this outstanding running attack with Zach Nickerson and company. There's some history on the line here. Oakwood has never made a six-man state championship game. They played in a 1A state championship game back in 1991 and lost it. Lorraine has never played on the big stage at all. So there's history to be made in Dublin. For now, I give the edge to the team with the defense. That's Lorraine. I think the Bulldogs punch their ticket to AT&T Stadium. But those are far from the only big games in the regional finals of the Texas High School football playoffs. Let's get to the lightning round. In 1A Division II, I think Benjamin beats Whit Harrell, although I think I've picked against Whit Harrell the last 2 weeks, and they've proven me wrong, so Whit Harrell's probably going to win. In 1A Division I, I like Abbott over Erie County in a close one, and give me Westbrook in a rematch win over Happy. 2A Division II we go. I like Albany over Collinsville. Give me Burton over Granger, and Wellington takes down New Home. 2A Division I, now all these games are really good. I like Toller over Crawford in a matchup of unbeatens, and in a rematch, I think Hawley gets Cisco again. Give me Timpson over Cooper in another matchup of unbeatens, and in one of the most anticipated rematches in Texas high school football, I think Refugio beats Shiner. To 3A Division II we go. I like Gunner over Holiday in a matchup of unbeatens. I like Poth to beat Tidehaven, and give me Canadian over Wall. To 3A Division I now, Malakoff and Grandview are playing for the 8th time in 5 seasons. Yeah, I think Malakoff gets him this time, and I think Whitesboro gets some vengeance on Brock. Stingham, I like Llano over Edna, and in one of the most anticipated games of the year, I like Franklin over Columbus. 4A Division II now, I'm going with Glen Rose over Monahans, and Carthage keeps rolling with a win over Pleasant Grove. I think Wimberley beats district rival Lago Vista again, and talk about a fireworks factory. I like Cuero in a close one over Silsby. A lot of fun games in 4A Division I. In Region 4, I like Corpus Christi Calallen over Bernie in a matchup of unbeatens. I'm going to go with China Spring over Anna in a matchup of Champion versus Cinderella, and in a rematch out east, I like Chapel Hill over Kilgore. In 5A Division II, I like Argyle over Abilene. Wiley, give me South Oak Cliff to take down Melissa, and Fort Bend Marshall beats district rival Port Neches Groves. To 5A Division I we go. I like Aledo to beat their district rival Burleson Centennial, and in a matchup of unbeatens, it's going to be awfully physical. I like Longview over Mansfield Timberview. I'm going with Smithson Valley in a close one over College Station, and PSJA North makes history. They beat Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. 6A Division II we go. I think DeSoto edges Killeen Harker Heights, and talk about a heavy-hitting matchup. I like Denton Geyer over Southlake Carroll. Dripping Springs narrowly wins a rematch with Austin Vandergrift, and Katy keeps it rolling with a win over Sheldon C.E. King. And last but not least, 6A Division I. I like Galena Park North Shore in a rematch over Atascocita. San Antonio Brennan gives Westlake a big scare, but the Shaps survive. And give me Duncanville over Spring Westfield. And those are the picks. I picked all 44 UIL Texas High School football playoff games. So now you can tell me, what am I wrong about? Comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2022 Texas High School football playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the regional finals of the Texas High School football playoffs. We'll see you.